Welcome to the Energy Pipeline Podcast. My name is Josh Lowry. We are coming to you live from the Upright Digital Studios at the Prang & Associates office in Houston, Texas. This is the Caterpillar-sponsored podcast, which is out Caterpillar Oil and Gas. I always get that wrong. And I'll tell you what else I get wrong in a minute, but that's another story. We are joined today by Matt Rayson, the Director of Product Management at Oil and Gas Caterpillar. Did I get it right?
You did. Well done.
Do you know why I ask if I get it right? Because this is the worst part of the entire show. Like, we were just talking off air,
Yeah.
and I'm already a different person.
I can see you nervous.
Yeah, I'm not nervous. It's just the worst. Try looking at the camera, remembering where you are, what show you're doing, who you're introducing, getting name pronunciation. Yours is great. Yours is easy. But I mean, and then you have to go into the interview. But my least favorite part is the intro. And I'll tell you what's really bad is if you go do this at a live event. Right. And you have 25, 30 people. We had to do this at, the Baker Hughes annual conference, and they had a huge audience, which is, again, not nervous, but just, oh boy, you better get this right the first time.
Just getting it going. Well, let's get into it.
Well, welcome. By the way, folks, you are about to see, you should tune in. This is a great segue. This is why I'm the best podcast host ever. You need to go to Caterpillar Oil and Gas and check out their page for where they keep the podcast. They are highly organized the way they do things, as they should be. They're a 100-year-old company, but they're so great on how prepped you guys are when you come in, and they expect me to be prepped. This is just terrible, Matt. So the notes that he has brought in, they almost intimidate me, folks. So come check this out. If he thinks I'm nervous, wait till the fire gets turned on this. So, Matt, welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
I've never done a video podcast. I've done audio podcasts before.
Just the audio. It's like a Zoom call almost. That's like a phone call for crying out loud.
So I dressed up today. I don't normally dress like this.
That's another reason to tune in. He is kind of making me look bad. He's got a great accent.
European style.
Yes, thin, tall, great accent, handsome.
I won't go that far, but thank you.
I mean, people need to tune in now to find out. What the other podcasts you did? What kind of stuff did they talk about?
Yeah, I've been around CAT. I've been CAT for 25 years, so I've been in different industries in CAT.
Okay.
So I've done podcasts on marine when I was in the marine business. More recently, I've done some oil and gas stuff. So
okay,
I've done different bits and pieces.
Where did you start within Caterpillar?
I started in our Perkins business. So Perkins Engines, yeah. So Caterpillar own the Perkins Engines business. It's a brand that's utilized around the world. Goes into agricultural equipment, gensets, industrial engines, essentially.
Where did you start?
In the UK, in a place called Peterborough. Manufacturing, been there since 1932. Not me, obviously, the company. And it was local to where I lived at the time, and joined their graduate scheme back in 2001. And here I am 25 years later in the oil and gas business, having been through marine, the services business, lived in 4 countries, worked in 4 countries as a result. So very grateful, very happy. And
that's a phenomenal little Caterpillar career so far.
Yeah. My wife also works for CAT too. So
she does.
Yeah, we're a dual career, and we both met in the UK, worked in the UK, and ended up in Singapore for 6 years. Went back to the UK briefly, off to Switzerland, Geneva for 6 years, and then over to the US.
What is a Caterpillar culture in Singapore versus Switzerland versus the US look like? Is it pretty consistent throughout, or?
Yeah, inside the company for sure. Yeah, I mean, our culture is built around behaviors and values, and that doesn't change wherever you are in the world. The customers change, the culture changes with the customers that you deal with, right, and the dealers you deal with. But ultimately, within the company, it's the same. And
I mean, think about that. A 100-year-old company, global operations. How many employees do you? Somewhere
over 100,000.
Yeah, 100,000 plus employees. That's really impressive to be able to hammer's maybe the wrong word, but just instill that culture.
It is mind-blowing, actually, and I meet a lot of people who come into our company, mid-career hires, for example, who have worked in other companies, and I always ask them what strikes you most about CAT, and they always refer to the culture and the positive culture, the way that people are prepared to help them, support them through their entry into the business, and bring them online. So the culture is very strong. It's something we work on every day. It's something I work on with my team every day, and it really is the foundation of what we do.
So, as I mentioned, Caterpillar is just outstanding with their notes and their framing, and how their preparedness, if you will. So you have great notes. If I was cheating in class, those are all your notes? I thought just the top page was.
No, they're all notes, but they're distilled into one page. And I know you're not going to ask me any of these questions. So
I'm going to ask you the questions. Believe me, I'm going to. What's the one thing on there that people want to know, or do you want people to know?
Well, I would love people to know, our rich history in oil and gas and how important that is and how that's evolved over time and what we're going to be doing moving forward to make sure that rich history remains and we live another 100 years.
Is that on your page?
In pieces.
So I'm asking this because we actually have interviewed a couple of different Caterpillar guys.
Right.
And I have, again, I don't like turning these into commercials just because I think people want to hear the people, the products, and kind of how they solve issues for the customer. Mm-hmm. But it just can't, every time I talk to one of you guys, I'm thinking, how is this company 100 years old? Like how, because the mindset just seems to be refreshed over and over and over.
Yep.
You seem like almost a startup with 100,000 people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's the mentality of our leadership. We're always very focused on our strategy. We're always very focused on evolving with the customer requirements, right? And you were even saying our strategy, right? Solving our customers' biggest challenges. I think you just said it. And that's how we live. That's how we evolve because we're constantly talking to our customers. We're constantly understanding what's happening in the marketplace and bringing that information back into our business. So how do we solve these problems for our customers? And that could be pure product, right? It could be an engine. It could be a service. And the world's moving that way. They want more services from us.
That's interesting.
Yeah, they want to solve their problems, whether it be emissions, power density, whether it be total cost of ownership. They want us to help us solve those problems, and we'll look at all the different ways of doing that. And the way things like AI and digital are evolving now, and digitizing iron, that there's still a lot to do in that space.
Well, you kind of took my first question there because it was really more about like what are the customers asking for? Is it better equipment? Is it newer equipment? Is it help us remodel? What to do with our equipment? But you're saying it's primarily service as a service.
Yeah, service is a big part of what our customers need from us, and that's about going out into the marketplace, understanding what their fleet looks like today, understanding what they're going to be bringing online in the future, and how can we help them maximize the efficiency, the reliability, the durability, the total cost of ownership of that product, right? Our customers are very cost disciplined, they're very capital disciplined. Mm-hmm. So they want to make sure that as they work with CAT, that we can provide them those services. So yeah, we dig in with those. We try and digitize the iron as much as we can. The physical hardware needs to be there, but the software is coming online now, allows us to connect that equipment, allows us to bring data in-house. We can analyze it through fleet management. We can help them understand what's happening with their equipment ahead of any major failures. Yeah. So that really gets them ahead. Yeah. Predictive maintenance is a big thing these days. And being able to capture a potential failure ahead of it actually happening is a big deal because it saves you a lot of downtime, saves you a lot of cost in the future. Are you yourself a tech guy? Do you enjoy that personally? I do. I like tech in all its forms, both in our side of the business, but outside as well. I mean, I'm an early adopter in terms of tech. Are you? Okay. You always have been? Yeah. Although this is an interesting story. Okay. I moved to the US in 2024. July the 4th, I came back to take back for Great Britain, but it didn't work. So we'll remember that day. That's right. But as King Charles said yesterday, it's the end around. Yeah, exactly. That's right. But I fell in love with the tech on the Tesla car. Okay. And the self-drive feature, and people are like, hey, how can you be in oil and gas and have an electric car? But we can talk about that if you like. But and I love the tech on it. It's fantastic, self-drive system, etc. So, I really enjoyed that. But, very quickly realized that the only thing you can drive in Texas is a truck. So I've gone. Well, in fact, we just had this conversation yesterday with some guys. I didn't realize how autonomous Teslas really were. Unbelievable. So we have a GM. Yeah. And you can hit, I think it's called Super Cruise. Yes. And it'll drive itself on a big highway, but it won't take you off. Yeah, exactly. So I thought that's what autonomous meant. Mm-hmm. And they're like, no. This thing will drive, turn corners, take you home, basically park itself. Yeah. This is what you're talking about. Exactly, yeah. So I love all that and being just generally interested and generally one that picks that up pretty quick. So how do you feel like that type of technology is, what's the word?
infiltrating. I don't know if that's exact, or coming into the oil and gas world. Do you see that kind of stuff? Not necessarily autonomous driving cars, but
autonomy is a thing, right? Autonomy is a thing in the oil and gas space, and if you look at our well service business and autonomy, even within like the flow iron and stuff we have in the frac space. I mean,
what's an example of some of that stuff?
We have like maintenance-free valves and things now, and we connect those assets that allows the service operator to look at that from afar and enables them to take that information in and not have to go into red zones, for example, to service those things. So that creates extra layer of safety for our operators in the field.
Yeah.
So these are real life examples, real world problems that needed to be solved, and automation can help us do that. We can automate engine controls as well. One of the things we do is dynamic gas blending, right? So we substitute diesel with gas in some of our products, and we have automation in that process as well. So the engine can adjust itself depending on the gas quality, etc., and the site conditions. So we are building autonomy into our equipment. There's much further ways to go, I think, in that. But that's in the field. If you think about if you go to one of our factories, you will see autonomy in flow all of the time. We have autonomous vehicles all around our factories, actually, wherever you go in the world. So whether it be the Far East or here in the US. So, we've been working with autonomy. Autonomy in mining's been around for a long time now.
That's the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
You see the size of this equipment that's autonomously being operated would blow the average person's mind.
Yeah. And the efficiency that the customer gains from that autonomy is mind-blowing as well, because you're taking the most direct route, the most efficient weights, the most efficient fuel economy through that process. Does help the customer in terms of their total cost of ownership, and safety. Right? Let's not forget
do they send you through mining at all? Did you have to ever have a stint up there?
I have not been through mining, so we can make the appeal now.
Someone's going to hear this. I find, because I come from the manufacturing side of things, and I always tell people, Caterpillar, if you have any type of machine shop in the Midwest, you do work for Caterpillar.
Yeah.
If you're any good, right? The scale of Caterpillar mining, oil and gas, et cetera, is just so big that they have to outsource certain parts and whatnot. But so if you've ever been to the mining show in Vegas, every 4 years, I think it is, I could not believe the technology in mining. I thought just big pieces of metal, beating up rock, explosions. Wrong. Yeah. It's some of the most high-tech manufacturing, computer processing, cabless, what do they call those? Heavy haulers? Yeah. There's no cab. Yeah. These things are being driven by, it's like a Tesla.
Exactly. You can drive them from 200 miles away. I mean, you can drive them totally autonomously. And also we're bringing AI into that now as well with the AI assistant in cab. So the operators are going to be able to talk to an AI assistant and get information about the equipment condition, the parts availability, potentially order parts in the future directly from the cab. All the things we like to do at home, all the convenience we have through things like Amazon. Yes. People are bringing that to our industry and say, hey, I want that experience. So, for a 100-year-old company, that takes, who are a hardcore equipment company, moving into that digital space, that autonomous space. We've been around that for a long time, but we're just moving that forward really at speed now.
I feel like you were at our conversation yesterday, because this is what we talked about Teslas first. Okay. And the second one was how the average person is so used to, hey, Alexa, order this or turn this up or turn this down. And then they come to work and their equipment is 15 years old. Yeah. Yeah. And they just accept it.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, this is what it is. When in reality, no. These technologies should be, if you're using them at home, there's some stuff that can be used here as well. Mm-hmm. So kind of following up this line of thought is, how much, are there stats that you guys have, like how much downtime or maintenance or safety can really be achieved through this? If the right data systems, IoT, whatever it is hardware is in place. Are you guys seeing noticeable differences in those metrics?
If I just think about dynamic gas blending, for example, we connect our dynamic DGB, we call it dynamic gas blending. We connect that equipment and we monitor the substitution rates. So how much more diesel are we displacing with gas? So we use this in our drilling operations, well service operations. And that demand came from the market. The customer wanted to improve their total cost of ownership. Diesel and fuel is one of the most expensive components of that. Plus the logistics of bringing it onto site is tough. So one of the ways we do, we connect our assets, and that gives us information. We estimate we save over 100 million gallons of diesel per year just through our DGB.
100 million gallons.
Yeah, just through our DGB operations. So when you talk about how do we quantify that, how does being connected enable us to quantify the impacts of our technology? I think that's a really great example.
Well, I mean, there's also 10 ways you can break that 100 million down.
Yeah.
You can put a dollar value to it.
You can.
You can put a carbon footprint value to it.
Yeah.
You can do, as you mentioned, the safety of getting it there.
Mm-hmm.
There's a hurt person that's not hurt anymore.
Yeah.
Logistics.
It's 10 to 20% greenhouse gas emissions reduction just through that process as well.
Wow.
So, being able to give customers that information by digitizing our iron is really important, because then it enables us to show the value of our products, the value of our R&D,
right.
and the advancements we're making, both on the digital side, but as importantly on the hardware side.
So the average customer, are they asking you for this, or are you telling them this?
No, they want to know it.
Okay, let me rephrase that question. Do they know the stuff's available? And they're saying, hey, here's an idea we have. And you're like, no. Don't worry about it. Got it right here.
Yeah.
Does that question phrase differently?
Yeah, I think, like I said earlier, we go out and we talk to our customers and say, what's important to you?
Okay.
That's the first thing. That's what my team do, right? I'm the product director for Cat Oil and Gas, and a lot of my job evolves around, we have an NPI budget, new product introduction budget every year, and we have to decide how we spend that money.
Folks, I got to give you a quick highlight to our man here. We talked about acronyms off-site. He is just recognizing them immediately during the conversation. Like, oh, acronym. This audience isn't going to know what these things are. So I just want to commend you for, and by the way, I'm the audience. I don't know and I hear this, I'm like, oh, geez, what does that mean exactly? So,
well, this is funny.
You're crushing it. I appreciate it.
I'm going off track a bit. We have an acronym dictionary at Cat.
Within the company.
Just so people can speed up. You can go onto our website. Anybody new who comes in our company, you can see that their eyes go a bit glazed, because we do talk in acronyms, unfortunately. But there is an actual dictionary on our website that allow people to go in and find the acronyms.
I love that.
The problem is some of the acronyms have the same letters, and you don't know which.
They're all over the place.
So, anyway.
No, that's a great piece of advice.
What was I saying?
Listen, you got to stay. This is ADD at its best here, buddy.
We were talking about NPI and new product introduction, and the way that we go out and talk to our customers before we even spend $1. Right, the first thing we go and ask our customers is, "What do you need from us?" So when you say, do the customers ask for it? We listen to their requirements. We listen to their needs, what problems we need them to solve. And they say, hey, this stuff's expensive. It's expensive to buy. It's expensive to own and operate. Okay, well, how can we help you do that? Well, fuel's really expensive. Okay, let's find technologies. Let's find ways to help you reduce that. So, are they asking for it? Sometimes they don't know what they're asking for.
That's an important point.
But there's an outcome they want to achieve.
Yeah.
And then really that's through partnership with our dealers and the customer and ourselves, we'll decide what we do to help them achieve the outcome. And they might not know the answer, but they know what they want to achieve.
That makes sense. They can't put a finger on it, but it's out there somewhere.
Yeah, there's a problem they need to solve.
Right.
And we're the experts, and we
So
help them solve
you've been there long enough, being Caterpillar long enough. Does it feel like these conversations when you first started versus today, are they more aggressive today from the customer? Are they more active? Are there more of them? Or has it always been like this?
I would say customers are getting more and more vocal about what they need from us, for sure. I think the competitive landscape is harder these days.
Sure, that's a good point.
There's, for example, in the oil and gas industry, electrification, right? It's there now. It's going to be there in the future. So there's a lot more to think about in that space. And so I think the landscape's getting more competitive. It's getting more complex. There's more entrants into the market. So we have to stay really focused on our customer requirements, and they have to same for them too, right? Their competitive landscape changes as well. So I think the information, I joined 25 years ago, the flow of information, I'm not as old to remember the times when we didn't have email, but we didn't have access to the internet like we do now. We didn't have access to video like we do now. We don't have access to AI. AI and
predictive.
And, we're using a lot of that, as all companies are, right? We're using that more and more in our organizations to synthesize information, to get information faster. It's astonishing, really, what you can do. And somebody once told me, because there's this whole debate around, is AI going to replace jobs? And I think I was listening to a podcast, and somebody said on that podcast, you're not going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by somebody that can use AI.
Correct.
And that really resonated with me. And I think the same goes for us as we think about how we support our customers. I think we have to make sure we utilize all of those inputs and make sure we're designing the right thing for the customer that solves their problems for them.
I wholeheartedly agree with everything you just said. And it really comes down to, or the breadth of or the beginning of that question was, are they asking for it more and more? The kind of the follow-up to that is, you said Singapore, Great Britain, Switzerland, the places you've worked with Caterpillar. What does the U.S. market feel like compared to these other markets? I feel like it's far more aggressive, and I mean that in the best possible sense, not in a negative connotation, but just that they just move harder, faster, quicker, more demands, etc. Am I correct in this?
I think directionally, yes. I mean, I have to be careful. I don't want to offend any nations. What I notice about the US, and this really stood out to me in the marine business. I was a strategy director for marine a while ago, and before I came into the oil and gas business, and it really stood out to me here. And it was all around greenhouse gas emissions reduction. Right, the marine industry is a heavy contributor. I can't remember the numbers directly off the top of my head. I think 3 or 4% of global emissions comes from the marine industry. You'd be surprised how much maritime traffic there is, huge vessels, right? 80% of what we see around us here today came on water at some point. Right. So the maritime industry is a heavy contributor to greenhouse gas emissions. And I saw a big difference between the US market and the European market in terms of the way that companies approach that. In Europe, I felt like they would put greenhouse gas emissions reduction ahead of anything, even the economics. In the US, it's totally opposite. It's economics first. And therefore, it is a bit more kind of aggressive in that sense because, it needs to make economical sense, then I'll do it. Yeah. Whereas in Europe, at times, I felt like it's the greenhouse gas emissions is more important than perhaps the economics of doing something. So
the reality is they're both important. They're
both important. and the reality is, I say this to my kids, the answer's somewhere in the middle, I think. And you can't go too far one way or the other.
Right.
You have to find that middle ground where, of course it makes economical sense because if you look at, wind turbines in the US, for example, I mean, a lot of those sites have gone, the bids that have gone out, they've not been taken up because it doesn't make economical sense to do it. They've gone and done that in Europe to a great degree. So it's really finding that middle ground between the economics and the commitment that we all have and we should have to reducing GHG reductions.
You've seen me flipping through my pages.
You're running out of questions.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I'm really.
You haven't asked me any that's on my sheet yet.
Have I not?
No, don't worry.
Come on. Well, because listen, kind of. No, I have lots of great questions. That's my concern is that the things that I care about. Again, I always view that I'm an oil and gas guy.
Yeah.
I'm a manufacturing guy. I've made money and I've lost money in oil and gas. Mm-hmm. So for me, I view these podcasts as the things that I want to know. And, operators have different questions. Your dealers have different questions.
Yep.
So I try to really put myself in the position of the person listening. Like, what do they want? Because again, a commercial is a commercial. Yeah. If they want a commercial, they can go online and watch a commercial. But it's, I'm sitting here thinking, all right, you clearly know your product. You enjoy the company. They're doing great. But really what I'm looking at this and I'm asking is there's got to be a thing that you want the audience to know. There has to be a thing. Is it emissions? Is it technology? Is it our dealer network? Is it compression? Is it nat gas? I mean, because a company the size of Caterpillar they have yet to send us somebody who's not totally awesome, by the way. But what is the thing?
Yeah.
So if that doesn't set you up to pick I'm highly jealous of your notes. That's really what it's coming down to. I wish my note taking.
I felt like I was going back to school when I wrote these. My kids were looking at me this morning at the breakfast table going, "What are you doing, Dad?" I'm like, "Well, I'm just prepping."
Getting ready for the Josh SAT. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think Joe Creed came in as Caterpillar CEO last year, and part of that process was to really review and refresh our strategy, and a big part of that strategy, and we've touched on it already, is really going out and solving our customers' problems. That's at the forefront of our mind, and we can talk about that in any direction you like, because customers have problems when it comes to emissions, when it comes to technology, when it comes to services, when it comes to total cost of ownership. And what I want the audience to know is that, whilst we are a 100-year company and we're very established in the oil and gas space, we are constantly trying to think of new ways to support our customers. A recent example of that is our gas mechanical system, GMS we call it, another acronym. If you look at the history of fracking, where we started with diesel products, moved to this dynamic gas blending, right, and now today we're in a space where we're doing 100% mechanical drive fracking. So what we're able to do now is create a frac site which is 100% powered by natural gas. So we're using the stranded gas on site. It's much cheaper. Yes. It's logistically more streamlined for our customers. It's logistically more streamlined versus e-frac. E-frac, you still needed to power. Mm-hmm. You still needed a genset on site if you didn't have access to the grid. So what we have now is a direct drive mechanical system with a transmission. We partner with our SBM, cat-owned company, SBM on the pump side, to create a whole mechanical system, which is much simpler for the customers to operate. It increases the power density on site, so there's less capital involved in the process. And also on the fuel side, it's just way cheaper and less of a logistics headache for our customers. So that's just an example on top of the dynamic gas blending of ways in which we're just constantly trying to evolve and work with our customers to solve their problems. My entire first 10 years of one of my companies, and really 20 years of my family's business, was, SPM is I always joke with you guys, I wish every podcast could be about frac and SPM and the frac pump and all that, because that was the world that I played in for so long, and I absolutely loved it. Yeah. And when Caterpillar bought that division, and and I could say from the outside looking in, like, what do they want this for? Is that going to work with your dealers? And then all of a sudden you saw how they slowly put it together. The engines, the transmissions, the pumps, and now it's like you just said, the entire setup. But it's going back to what we said earlier. Customers want solutions. They don't want individual components. Right. So they want us to tie this together. A big part of what my team do is tying this stuff together. Grid tie is another example, where we're connecting. Grid tie, yeah, where we connect. We have a control system that connects a genset, it connects a battery, it connects the grid, and that system can tell, hey, electricity is cheaper on the grid right now. Let's switch to that. Hey, it's cheaper to run a genset now. Let's run that. Let's store some of this excess energy in the battery. So we're starting to build out systems like that are not individual components, because if you just get commoditized if you're an individual piece part. So we want to provide a full solution to our customer, and then looking at the business models, do the customers want to own and operate themselves, or do they want CAT to take more of a directive role in that?
What's the answer to that?
As a service, and we can do anything. We can do
whatever
anything
the customer wants.
Yeah, whatever the customer wants. And we work with our dealers, and sometimes they do want to own the assets, sometimes they don't, and we can offer services if they don't. And another interesting part of our business is carbon capture. It's less spoken about, but we have a business, it was called Carbon Point Solutions, but we've rebranded it to Carbon Capture Solutions. And that's a newer edge technology. Yeah. We're still proving it out. We're trying to understand how and where we can apply that. But again, thinking about how do we reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the market, putting on a carbon capture system on the end of an exhaust makes a lot of sense. I love all of the above. Yeah. By the way. Yeah. So, that's to some degree in its infancy. We're testing out that technology. We're working with customers to understand how we can apply that. And again, going back to what we said earlier, how we can apply it in a way that makes economical sense. What do we do with the carbon once we've captured it? Do we sequester it? Do we use it for enhanced oil recovery? There's lots of different markets for carbon. So it's really just about sitting down with the customer, understanding what they're trying to achieve, and then working back within our organizations to make sure that, we can build it. Yeah, we can service it. Yeah, we can even provide it as a service to you if that's what you want as the customer. And then we'll work out what that means to us. So that's how we're evolving as an organization.
So I've heard a lot of cool stuff, but there's one thing I want to go back to. And if this is not your expertise, you don't have to. But the Grid Connect.
Yeah, grid tie.
Grid, what is it?
Grid tie.
Grid tie.
Grid tie.
Grid tie, TIE.
Yeah.
So tell me more on that, if you can.
Yeah, so we're developing on the R&D side. We're developing a basically, I mean, layman's terms, control system that is intelligent enough to know, you've got something in the oil field, a drill, for example, that needs power, and depending on what's powered is needed at what moment in time, the system can decide whether it takes energy from the grid, whether it takes energy from a genset, whether it takes energy from a battery potentially. The most economical source of that power will be established by the system.
Really?
And it automatically flips that around. So
You mentioned that grid would be available, grid
assuming
power.
a grid.
Sure. Yeah, I totally understand.
Right? I mean, it is.
But it can decide that quickly, like it's better to do it here than on this genset.
Yeah. It's like at night, you plug your Tesla in at night, right? Because you get free electricity, right? And it's just making those decisions for you, going back to that autonomy.
Yeah.
And if you think about it from a customer's perspective, they don't need to get involved. It's autonomous,
Man.
and at the same time, it saves them money. So,
I feel like that's a huge deal.
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
It's in its infancy. It's something we're developing. We've got some test units out there in the field. We've been testing it. We've been looking at it for different customers. So it's definitely something for the future. It's something that we're going to continue that will evolve, and it will get smarter and faster as time goes on.
Well, back to me being the greatest podcast host ever. You just said in the future. So one of the questions I had next, this is about compression, et cetera. But what does your next 5 or 10 years look like? Because that's one of the, again, I just feel like that's a thing you guys do well. So the audience wants to know, what's this next 5 or 10 years look like with compression, the grid ties, et cetera? It's like, where do you see this stuff going?
Yeah, I mean, in the next 5 years, we need to make as much power as we possibly can.
Oh, what a great answer, by the way.
Is outstripping capacity at the moment. We're working really hard, and we've made significant investments. In fact, last week I was up in our Lafayette facility seeing the investment we've made there, nearly $1 billion of investment in a new factory, or addition to the factory we have there, to help build out our products. So yeah, getting more power to the market is critical for us. But in terms of product development, I mean, we're continually looking at how we reduce emissions. This next year or so, you're going to start to hear about our G3600 Generation 3 product, which is a methane oxidation catalyst we're adding to the G3600, the world famous.
Methane, folks, is methane to us Texans.
I'm sorry.
That's it.
Should we talk about aluminium?
That's always one of the funniest words. I worked for a British company right out of college, and they would always say aluminium. And first couple times, I'm like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I can never say tomato. It doesn't sound right to me.
I think aluminium is the better way to say it. Aluminum.
Yeah, that's wrong.
Aluminium.
It's wrong. Aluminium.
Sorry.
Where were we?
We were on methane.
Methane, yeah. So we're bringing out new products. So, I mean, regardless, I think the emissions pressure has come off a little bit to what it was a few years ago. It's going to come back.
Sure.
It's not going to go away.
No, it's not.
It's part of our value.
And it doesn't need to go away. Like, we should hang on to these things. I mean, these are good things coming from this.
So we're going to continue to push on that. So, I mean, that Gen 3 will be a 90% reduction of greenhouse gas emissions on Gen 1.
Just jump in here for just a second. One of the things so we have our other network of podcasts, Oilfield 360. We do another one called Energy Transition Podcast. And 6 years ago, we started that, the EIT podcast. And it felt like the world had to change right then. And there needed to be an algae that could power everything.
Right.
And it had to happen.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you realize that that's not what energy transition, number one, looks like. And we don't need a transition, we need energy addition.
Yeah.
But we just need it done cleaner.
Yeah.
And so when you describe, for instance, the 100,000 fewer gallons of diesel, that is an energy transition. What 6 years ago people would view as like that's a massive thing.
And a 90% reduction on the G3600 from Gen 1. Yeah.
Exactly. Think about 90%.
There's so much that can be done with the current technology. It doesn't have to be a new thing.
Well, but it's the ingenuity of people to say, look, people still want to turn their lights on.
Yeah.
You know, like they're gonna hit a switch and that light better come on.
Energy is prosperity. I mean, we've all lived through.
Yeah.
Fortunately for us, probably where we live, short periods of not having power, and it's very difficult.
Correct.
And you can link any economic growth and prosperity to the availability of power. It's absolutely.
Most importantly, do you think that your accent do you think you'll be CEO one day because of this accent?
No.
I don't know. I feel like it just helps. I'm over saying methane and aluminum, and I just feel like I wish I had that accent.
Well, you know, you go to the UK and everyone wishes they had an American accent, so I guess it goes.
It's just so great. So the way you're explaining it is just out, and I'm like, this guy's speaking science. So back to my notes and how great I am at this. What do I want the people to know? Truly, I've been hammering you on your notes, but I want to make sure that because of how I conduct myself with no British accent, that I don't miss the point. But I feel like we've touched on the things that people need to know. Yeah,
I mean, I'm so excited to be part of CAT right now. I think
that's a cool thing to say. Seriously,
genuinely, I think the refresh strategy that we've brought out, you know, we're really focusing on, you know, in commercial excellence is a really important part of what we do, and that's really connecting with our customers, understanding how we can support them, making sure that, you know, we are an authority and a leader in the technology space, and then transforming how we work, right? And that's both internally and externally, making sure that, you know, we connect better with our customers. We find ways of working together with our dealers and our customers, better ways to work together, and that whole autonomy space and bringing that into the world. It's such an exciting space to be right now. I think we're going to be bringing out some really cool products, not only on the kind of the bits that we see in the market, but also what happens inside our factories.
Yeah.
And again, I was at a factory last week.
World of excellence, quite honestly.
Yeah, totally. And the advances and the gains and the efficiencies that we're seeing there. And we talk about emissions, greenhouse gas emissions in the field. Go to one of our factories and see what they do.
Absolutely.
In terms of recycling, water, electricity, material recycling. Super efficient. In fact, we've been doing that for actually a lot longer than what's been happening in the field. So it's just, you know, all of that based around kind of the values and behaviors that are promoted by our leadership. I mean, people say to me, why have you been in CAT? How have you been in CAT for 25 years? And it's like, well, I've never wanted to work anywhere else because I've just been energized. I've been lucky enough to live and work in different parts of the world. I've been lucky enough to work in different industries for CAT on different brands. And everywhere I've been, it's just been an absolute pleasure. So I think if that's felt in-house, our customers are going to feel that too. And our dealers are as well. So, I mean, look, we're never perfect.
Right.
Nobody is. But we're gonna. Every day I walk into the office and all we talk about is our customers, and that for me is energizing.
Caitlin's our producer. Would you say the same thing about Upright Digital?
No doubt.
See, okay, I feel like your answer is better than what she just said. This is how I hope everybody talks about their employer and their work. I mean, because you have to go to work every single day.
Yeah.
Like you need to like the people you work with, like the ideas, values and behaviors, et cetera. Like what a great, like I am becoming more and more of a Caterpillar fan. I didn't even set out to do that. Like that wasn't the goal of this podcast, but you hear this stuff and like, the more I hear, I'm like, man, they're doing it right.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're dealers. So I'm pretty familiar with your Mustang Cat guys and Hulk Cat. The Mustang Cat people are outstanding.
They differentiate us.
They are legitimate
superstars. Yeah. We would not be anywhere near as successful without those guys. And the guys you mentioned are great, but remember, we have dealers all around the world.
Yeah,
They do an outstanding job. They cover a lot of ground for us. They serve our customers every single day. We frustrate them at times.
Big company.
And but we work through that with them. And the partnership is just, again, I've never worked in another company, so it's hard for me to compare, but I do know that when people come into CAT and they talk about their experiences outside of the organization, they're astonished by the culture that we have, but they're also astonished about the relationship we have with our dealers. And that partnership is really the secret sauce.
That's a really cool way to describe them, that, they differentiate you guys. There's a lot of credibility, I'm sure, that came with them from a long time. So
Yeah,
and I remember that early transition. Like there was some. Here comes Caterpillar Oil and Gas, and here's, for instance, Mustang Cat, right? Locally, it was like, well, how's this going to work? And you figured it out.
Yeah.
You figured it out.
Yeah, there's really clear roles and responsibilities, and we have tough conversations, as we should.
As you should.
And
any good company would.
Yeah, but it's again, a healthy culture allows you to have that. So we're able to sit with our dealers, we're able to work through issues, we're able to solve customer problems, and we listen to their requirements, we support them as best we can as they support us in the field, and it just works. And like I say, it really does differentiate us in the market.
Well, once again, I've done a phenomenal job. I've nailed these notes. Mas menos. So
good job.
Thank you. Aluminium. Isn't this great coming down here? This is way better than an audio podcast.
This is way better than do it at my desk, yeah.
Thank you for, by the way, thank you for coming down. Your career is, I like it. It sounds like you're going to be there for a long time.
I hope so.
So what we need to do is have you back in like
course.
12 months to see, hey, here's what, in fact, that's a great kind of end question.
Let's do it. Yeah.
If I have you back OTC 2027, what will people have been talking about with you for the last 12 months?
Well, they definitely would have been talking about how great our GMS system, gas mechanical system, is, and what value that's bringing to them in the marketplace. That's we're ramping up. We've got over 50 of those units out in the field now, and by that time we'll be probably well over 200. So we're going to have
that's
a
awesome,
lot of
actually.
that product out there, doing a lot of hours and really taking us forward in that space. We'll be talking about the G3600 and the generation 3 of that, and we'll be talking more and more about all of this autonomy, system integration, grid tie. We'll be able to talk more about how AI is impacting what we do, and how our customers experience services from CAT. And services isn't something I already touched on that much, but fleet management, in-house fleet management, offering services out into the marketplace is something that we're going to be building out more and more, working with our dealers on the execution side. But we've got customers with bigger fleets now. There's been a lot of consolidation in the market, so being able to help our customers manage their fleet is something that we're going to be more and more focused on moving forward.
By the way, those questions were right here.
They were. Had to squeeze them in.
Yeah, it's just a little. I apparently ignored section 6 on my notes here. So.
Well, I know for next time. Just to,
it's funny. I wrote down some stuff that we are going to have you back in 27, OTC 27.
Okay.
And we will give I'll have this whole thing noted to be like, hey, here's what you said.
Yeah. Let's see if it comes true.
Yeah. I mean, these are all great things. The Gen Set 3 or the Gen 3.
Generation 3.
That's a cool thing. I'm actually really interested. Yes. Because that was Gen 2 was a big deal.
It was. Gen 3.
That changed the whole industry.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to hear what that third generation looks like and how the market accepts it, takes it, builds it.
Yeah, we're going to be talking more about that later this year at the GPA conferences and stuff like that.
Okay.
So keep your ears open for that. But there's units out there now. We're testing them. We're getting some early results from them. We're looking at the emissions coming from them, but it's looking good.
Well, Matt, this is when I wrap things up. What did you think of this podcast?
I enjoyed it. It went fast, huh?
I mean, it's been about 40 minutes. Longer than you think. 45, actually.
Right.
Time flies when you're having fun.
It does.
20 years. You've been there 20 years. Feels
25.
like yesterday. 25, excuse me. So this is an invasion of the Brits this week. King Charles is in town.
He's here, yeah.
I think he did a great job. He spoke yesterday in front of Congress.
Funny, right?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's funny, but he nailed his wit. It was very
witty, I think is a better way.
He just killed it. He was crushed it on the deal, and he spoke at the state dinner and just did an excellent job. So you are second only to King Charles as the Brit this week that's crushed it. So thank you very truly, Matt Rayson of Director of Product Management. How do they get a hold of you specifically? They check you out on LinkedIn?
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn. Yeah, you can contact me and we can talk products all day long.
So some people like to give their email. I'm like, don't give your email. Yeah, this thing's bigger than you think.
I was wondering if you was asking my phone number.
No, well, we had another buddy of ours that gave his sat phone number out one time, and I'm like, what are you doing?
Okay, yeah.
It's like $9 a minute. Like, we're not giving your sat phone number out. So, but yeah, check you out. It's Rayson, Rayson, Matt Rayson.
Correct.
With Caterpillar Oil and Gas. Mm-hmm. Matt, thank you for your time. Audience, thank you. This podcast is growing once again. Caterpillar, you guys are just, they always listen to they're like, Josh, could you please? I'm like, no, I can't. I'm gonna stick to the program, Caterpillar. Your marketing and communications department
they're hot.
They're outstanding.
Yeah.
They know their stuff.
They do.
We enjoy working with you guys. Thanks for the whole partnership with, our whole Upright Digital and then Caterpillar. So if you want to check anything out, we mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast, go to Caterpillar Oil and Gas, and the way that they index all of their podcast is truly what you would expect out of Caterpillar. So Matt, thank you for your time, sir.
Thanks for having me. Great to be here.
Good luck to you.
See ya.
Yep.